Welcome to Heather Ewing, the CRE Rundown. I am your host, Heather Ewing, and today I have the exceptional Cyndi Peach. She is from Next Phase Investment Community out of lovely California. Welcome, Cyndi.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you again for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So we began connecting through LinkedIn, like many of
Yeah.
my podcast guests, and it's really a wonderful emporium to find all these great, talented people throughout the country. And since we've been getting to know each other, please share with my audience a little bit more about yourself so they can get to know you too.
Great. Thank you, Heather. Well, I didn't start out in real estate. I started out working in the tech industry, and I did that for about 30 years. In the first part of it, if we all flash back to the 2000 period where we had the dot-com burst with the internet, there was a lot of big changes in the tech industry. And I saw a trend that we had these peaks and valleys of the business cycle, and there was also layoffs that were involved. And we've just seen that in the last 2024, a lot of tech layoffs. And so my husband and I were talking, we decided that we needed to find, additional income streams. And so we looked towards real estate to develop that. So in early 2000, we started out, there was a need from California for housing, and we started out actually building out spec houses. I got my real estate license, and when I was selling the houses. And of course, then we got another bubble that burst, and that was the real estate bubble. And so going through that, a lot of key learnings from that, but we continue to move forward, made lemon out of lemonade, and continue to move forward. And then we moved into commercial real estate, and started out with General Service Administration, which is federal buildings that we were leasing, getting income from the federal government. And we moved into that and branched out into retail strip centers. And that's where we continue to move forward in the last 10 years as we're building out that portfolio for our investors around retail strip centers. So that's
Perfect.
kind of my
Which, of
journey.
course, yes, which is the true pivot, right? And that's where it's interesting because in talking with so many different people through the podcast, networking, other venues, that people either get into real estate, they knew they wanted it, or it's that wild pivot where you start branching out and looking at where your skills, your resources, your talents are and creating that new path. So congratulations to you for trailblazing that.
Thank you. I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that a lot of, you can't branch into that in commercial real estate. You have to have a lot of money that to do that. And if you actually look at, and you know this, Heather, being in the industry,
Mhm.
most of our retail strip centers, 90% of them are owned by couples, mom and pops, if you want to call it that are actually owning and managing those. So there is great opportunity for people to get involved in that.
Definitely. And that brings up a beautiful point is that I think so much of it is mindset, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's commercial real estate, whether it's other areas, that people have these notions, right, that it's for the 1%. And sure, you hear about that, but it's really, there's so many different opportunities, different dollar amounts. And when you are resourceful, such as yourself, and in my experience too, it creates a really great path for personal growth, for investing, for development, and it's a true gift.
Yeah, there's and you're right about the mind shift part of it. There's a point where you have to get out of that. You have to get in that abundance mindset, and
Mhm.
look at the opportunities that are out there. And I think a lot of us, as we go through, grow up, and develop our careers, that we're kind of trained or programmed to think that we go out and get that corporate job, we buy that house. And then we put our money in our 401k, and then magically in that time frame that we want to retire, we'll have all this money. And it doesn't usually work out that way. You have to have different
No.
multiple income streams to offset, because I just spoke about, we had the dot-com bubble burst in early 2000. I think it was 2000, 2001. And then following that, there was another one that was the real estate bubble. We've seen these different shifts, I will call, in the economy, whether it be even if we go just recently with the pandemic, that's made a big shift. If you look at office buildings right now, it's there's a huge vacancy rate there. So you have to be able to pivot and adapt and move along with these different changes. You just don't know what's going to be thrown at you. And so in having different multiple income streams, and you can ride out the wave of those downtimes in those certain areas.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where too, we take our mindset with ourselves 24/7.
Yes.
And definitely something I've honed in on over the past decade. And I think in commercial real estate, if you want, you either sink or swim, right? And
Yep.
I
Yeah.
also bootstrapped my way and I paid for everything. It
Hmm.
wasn't family money, it wasn't investors, all these different things. So I really did have to be scrappy. I had to really want it, which I did and still do. But things shift and change when you have a clear direction and you don't accept um, not getting there, right? That you will be resourceful and cultivate what you need to get there. It does happen, as illustrated by our stories and so many others within the arena. What would you say really helped you to cultivate that winning mindset and the abundance mindset that it requires?
I think it's just a lot of how I wake up in the morning. I get up. I love my coffee. I'm drinking it
Hmm.
now while we're on this podcast. So I
I
love my
am too.
coffee. So what I do in the morning, I'll get up. I'll bound out of bed, as my husband calls it, and then I'll run down. I'll make
Hmm.
coffee, and as I'm making coffee, I use that time just to sit there and think about how I'm going to start my day, what I want to see happen. If you kind of envision what you want to see the outcome to be, you'll always work towards that. So I really try to have a positive mindset, in the sense that I put out those positive affirmations in the morning. I think about the outcome of the day and how I want to see it happen. And then I start my day out. And so then now I know what I want for the end result. And that I think you can do it on a day by day basis. And you can also
Right.
do it if you're planning in the future, right? 5 years from now. We talk about that. But when I was working in the corporate world, they go, "What do you want to be in 5 years?" I'm like, oh, I don't know. Sometimes you don't know. So breaking it
Right.
down on a day-to-day basis, it just makes it easier. And then you'll start building out, what you want to do. But just starting out, I believe what you put out there, you get back. And
Definitely.
that's, if I want to put out positive thoughts about where I want to be and what I want to do and who I meet, even with LinkedIn, how we met, I got started
Mhm.
on the LinkedIn challenge, and here I met you.
Yes.
So I mean, so just taking that step and that leap, that's something I wasn't maybe comfortable with. I've now branched out and I've met all these great people, from the sitting here at my desk. I've been able to meet a lot of great
Mhm.
people and interact with them. So it's all in how you put it out there. And I always go with a positive mindset, and just starting my day out that way of how I want to see the outcome in a positive
I
way.
think that I think that's great. And it's interesting because I ask that question of so many people that I talk with. And there's definitely continuity among people, different little twists and things of that nature. But to your point, it's envisioning, feeling it, and yeah, how do you want it to unfold? Because our conscious, unconscious work together, whether people are aware of it or not. And that's why neuroscience is truly fascinating. And to me, the more
Oh
we know
yeah.
about it, the more we can cultivate it. Dr. Andrew Huberman has a great podcast. So yeah, human performance is a big one for people in commercial real estate or really any industry. So as we shift from mindset, let's think of technology, right? Of
Okay.
AI. Everyone's hearing about it. It's coming into all the different arenas, disrupting. There's fear, there's excitement. What are your thoughts and take on AI?
Well, I'm going to pause on that for a second. So being from have my background being in technology, I'm excited about AI. When
Mhm.
I left Intel, I actually worked for the Intel Research Lab, and we were doing the early development on different AI technologies. And then one of the things that people are in fear of is that they won't be able to distinguish what is real and what is not. And so there's a lot of technology out there. It's called deep fake, which is, looks at videos and can tell actually if it's AI generated versus a real video that as we're doing now today. But moving forward, I think AI is exciting. There's an opportunity for right now for people to be able to be more productive using AI. And look at real estate, for example. AI is being used to analyze deals and do the underwriting on it. We've used AI for creating content. We've used AI for delivering out marketing materials. We're using AI right now to make notes for this transcript. So there's all these great things that we can do with AI. I think with anything that's new technology, there's always this unsettling unease about it. What'll happen, the
Mhm.
unknown, right? And I think it's the same thing that we saw as a kid growing up watching television. We're going to, and my parents called it the boob tube, because you
Yes.
weren't gonna learn anything, right? But we've seen with technology advancements that we get to learn more. Even with the internet, everybody's scared about, oh my God, people are going to be able to see what I'm doing, or I won't have any
Yeah.
privacy. But the positive side is that we have YouTube where we can go out and learn a bunch of different
Oh,
things. You have this medium now that you can actually go out and from your comfort of your office or home, you can
right.
create a podcast, and we can we have different avenues of way we can collect information. It's not just the encyclopedia for people who remember those days where you had to go look it up at the library. There's so many different areas. So I think I'm excited about what AI will bring to our world. I'm sure that there's always there's a yin and a yang with everything, but I think that's how we work it out. We've adopted new technology in the past. Yeah, there's some things that maybe people don't like about it, but the overall I think is good. I think it's going to be great for everybody.
I agree completely. And you nailed it on the head, Cindy, of people oftentimes fear change and it's learning about it,
Yeah.
understanding. And we all know that change, you're going to go through it. So you can either go through it kicking and screaming, or like you are, seeing the benefits, integrating them. And really, it allows you and your community to help people on a farther, quicker, wider realm. So that's a true gift. And I
Yeah.
see too of, with YouTube, as you referenced that, what a great opportunity in life for people to
Hmm.
learn, and it's free. Really, if there's an interest, going back to mindset, if you have an interest, it's as simple as from the comfort of home, your cell phone, wherever, of just plugging something in and beginning to educate yourself, understanding who in that realm you can learn from in addition to and other ways. So that's great. So, commercial real estate is busy, as we know, a
Yeah.
lot of ups and downs and arounds the bends. What do you do to de-stress, whether it's during the day or even in the evenings or weekends?
So I like to work out. Now I'm not as diligent as you, Heather, out there running at what 4:30 in the morning, getting ready for a marathon. But
It's a rare
God
one.
bless you. But I work out. I actually have a group of ladies that I go to. It's called Fusion, but it's a dance workout class, and I do some weightlifting. I
Fun.
take opportunities to walk. Usually what I'll do, there's my de-stress for my daily thing where just some personal me time that I take, and it may
Mhm.
be going lifting weights and listening to an audible book, or taking a walk, and just kind of let my
Okay.
mind wander, and because I find when I do that, that's when the answers come to me. And then when I'm not at home, if I'm traveling, if you want to go just get away from it all completely,
Right.
my husband and I have a 51-foot catamaran, and we
Mm.
sail. And so we've been doing some sailing in the Med. Our boat's over there now, and then we plan to do a crossing across the Atlantic in November. We're going to bring it over here to the U.S. So
Fascinating.
yeah, so that's the adventure Cindy part.
I love, to your point, we are multifaceted
Mhm.
individuals, right? And with commercial real estate, like I joke that you can take us anywhere, but we are going to be looking at these little points. And I think I see it as a good thing because all of us that are in it, I mean, it's been years and it's in your blood. It's a lifestyle and it's something we all enjoy. And I think that's the
Yep.
other really nice thing about it is that, I see some of the older crew in their late 70s, even mid 80s that are still in the game. And what I love about that is that there's a community. There's still keeping their mind fresh, the relationships and all these different
Oh yeah.
facets. So to me, that's just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't like being an athlete in real estate, right? You don't burn out at
Hmm.
40, right? I really think you really
Right.
turn it on as you get, the longer you are in the game, because you've learned from different those learning lessons along the way, that you've built up a whole, um I call BKMs, or best known methods of doing things, that you can share with
Right.
other people. So the community is great, and I want to emphasize that I started this a few years ago with, when I officially left my W-2, and we created Next Phase Venture Partners, um,
Mhm.
to help tech professionals like myself go out and be able to create alternative incomes. But the deal is that I've been so welcomed in this community. There is an abundance mindset. There's plenty of room for all of us, and I've been the friendships that I've created, just even via LinkedIn, has been
Yeah.
wonderful, very helpful, and people are there to reach out, and you can have conversations with them. So it's been a great, warm community to join.
I agree completely. And I think one of the really nice aspects I like too is I'm also a very creative person. And I think
Yeah.
there's a great opportunity that everyone can be who they are, and that is accepted, right? Where in
Yes.
so many different industries, it's like you have to dress this way, you have to, reply this way, where it's so structured. And in commercial real estate, it's kind of like you show up, you bring your best, you help people, you have an abundance mindset, and it's kind of like filling the gaps of we're all looking to how do we all move forward and helping people individually and collectively. So that's
Yes.
really neat. Hmm. So my final question, this is always the big one, is
Uh-oh.
yeah, oh, I know. Brace yourself.
I'm scared.
Hold on, Cyndi.
Okay.
What does living fully mean to you?
Oh, living fully, to me, is, one thing is that, I've created a life that I don't have to trade time for money. That I have the freedom to get up and decide what I'm going to do every day, whether it's, and of course I'm working, building our business, scaling out our investor community, and that's, one thing I enjoy doing. But it's also spending time with family and friends, traveling, and pursuing passions. I also sing in a cover band, and so I like to do music, and so that's one of the other things. And I have time to be able to do that. I can manage my own time, and I think that's, what is so freeing for me, being in this business, is that, of course, we have to do what we have to do to make things work in the
Mhm.
business side of it, but I don't
Right.
have to do it in a designated time that someone decided for me. I get to manage that time, and every day I get up, I get to decide what I want to do, and that is priceless for me. I mean, you can't put a
I
dollar on
completely agree.
that.
Yes, yes. Well, and to me, freedom is my number one value as well. And
Hmm.
I think, what I've kind of distilled over the years is that if you're disciplined, it's a grand arena because to your point, you can structure things around it. And especially with the investments, then that way too, you're not bound by the time in the same way if you're not investing or at that stage yet. But the beautiful thing, as you've shared, is that there's different stages. People, it just takes one step, whether it's
It does.
singing, dancing, to begin investing. And what's a great way for people to connect with you so they can take that next step or increase their portfolio?
That's great. Thank you, Heather. So you can definitely reach out on me on LinkedIn. It's Cindy Peach, which is on the screen, Cyndi Peach. And just go linkedin.com/, Cindy Peach. The other way you can reach me is through our website, and it's Invest with Peach. So very easy. Type that in. You can reach out to us. There's a form you can fill out. You can schedule a call. I'm always excited to bring, people on, and first thing we do is try to educate. I'm not here to sell things. I'm here to help you decide what's the best option for you. Some people, this isn't the what is comfortable for them. So it takes a special person to come into the investor community. I like to educate people, bring them on board, and then make
Mhm.
sure this is the right fit for them.
Which is perfect because everyone has to make their decision, right?
Yes.
And that's why I love your approach. And in your level of professionalism because you provide everything, you answer the questions, and each person knows their self so they can make the appropriate choice with your wisdom. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Cyndi, thank you so much for joining me. It was great to talk with you, and I look forward to connecting more on LinkedIn.
Oh, me too, Heather. Thank you again for having me on your podcast. I so much appreciate it.
You bet. Bye bye.
Bye bye.